developers. Yes, right now you can call yourself web developers because we are done with HTML tutorials. Yes, you are true. Yes, with the HTML tutorial. So in this chapter we've covered first chapter we covered some aspect of CSS. That's the theory aspect, some theory aspect of CSS. In this chapter we are going to take a look at CSS colors, but it's going to be practicals. Yes, it's going to be practicals. The text editor I'm going to use for this practical is Sublime Text. The text editor I'm going to use for this practicals is Sublime Text. So you can just head on to Google and type Sublime Text. Click on the first link and you see some download button. You click on it, follow the instructions, and you get Sublime Text installed. If you want to use any other text editor you prefer, well, that's up to you. You can research and see the one that was best fits you. But in this tutorial we are going to use I'm going to use Sublime Text for the practical aspect. So right now I have this folder on my desktop, WeLearn. That's the folder we are going to use. I'm going to use towards contain all the files for this what practicals. So I will first open my Sublime Text, okay, which I've done already, and then in your Sublime Text move to file, go to open folder. You go to open folder and then desktop, move to your desktop where that folder is, where the folder you are using is. So you double click on it and then you select the folder. You select the folder. So right now the folder has been selected. We have to now create our HTML file and our CSS file. Yes, let's create it. So you right click on the folder, new file, and then save, Ctrl+S. So see, you come in the same folder, you name it index.html, and then save, and then you right click on it again, you create another file, Ctrl+S to save it, give it a name. Let's name it, say, style.css. You save it. So let's move on to the index.html. Let me close this panel. Index.html. With Sublime Text, use open angle bracket, you type ht and then enter, then all the templates will come. So this title is going to be CSS tutorial. Before we can have access to our CSS file, we have to link it to our HTML file. Before we can use the CSS in our HTML, we have to link it to our HTML file. So let's do the linking. You do angle bracket, you type link, then see the link, you type link. So these text editors, you just be typing and hitting on the enter button for auto completion. So the link is there, so you just type in the name of your file. We've already dealt with how to select the path. Maybe if you are going into another folder, coming away from a folder, if the file is in the same folder, how you are going to deal with it. Please, if you have no idea, you can check the HTML. You have knowledge about that. So this file, for instance, is in the same folder, so we just type the name of it, CSS. So right now, for us to know that this thing is working, let's move on to our style sheet, just testing whether it's working. So you need to open it with your browser, which I've done that. Open it with your browser. So you save it, you refresh your browser. So you come to a CSS, let's just type anything. Don't worry if you don't understand. We are going to cover everything you will need for you to become a web developer. The CSS aspects, we are going to cover it here. So this one, you are just testing something out right now. I save it. Let's see if it works. Okay, right now, see, it has been linked successfully. Now let me clear it, say refresh. Let's get back. Okay, don't worry about this thing. So you refresh, you have your okay. So in this tutorial we are going to deal with CSS colors. So Colors are specified using predefined color names: RGB, hexa, HSL, RGBA, and what? HSLA. So let's first deal with the color names. Yes, the color names. So for instance, let me just input something so that we will edit it ourselves and see how the color names goes. So let's put it in a p tag, the p element, type any random text. oh my sorry. Okay, so you save, you refresh, it appears. You save, you refresh. That's how it is. You save, you refresh, you save and refresh your work, then it appears. So let's head into our CSS. So with this, if you want to style this thing, if you want to change the color, you are trying to change the color. So we say color can be changed. Yes, using the what? You can use the color name, the RGB, or the RGBA. Color name, RGB, RGBA. You have the hexadecimal way of what? Selecting colors. So let's use the predefined color names. So we have P, as we tackled earlier in the first chapter, selecting elements. How to what? Select elements. So P, we are selecting the P element to what? Style it. So we are using the what? The element name. We are using the what? Sorry, the tag name rather, P. So P and the what? Curly braces. So if you want to change the color of it, say color. Now using the predefined color name, you can use red. So let's say red. Sorry, red. You save, you refresh, and the color will change. You can use yellow. You save, you refresh, and the color will change. So any color, any color you can research and what? Get to know various. You have a lot of colors out there that you can what? Use it to style. But always be mindful of the color and the background color. We will tackle the background in the later chapter. So this is a predefined color name. Just the normal name, red, yellow, green, blue, black, purple, pink, indigo, violet, a whole lot. Them, just name them. So you can use this, or you can use the RGB. So let's say RGB. So RGB, right now the R in it stands for red, the G is green, and the B is blue. RGB, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. So it ranges, the RGB ranges. So for the red is 0 to 200 and what? 55, 0 to 255. Same applies to the green, 0 to 255, and the blue, 0 to 255. So if you specify any number within those range, and these three needs to be what? They all have to get number. You can't just say you are using RG and leave the B. If you are not going to use the B, just specify 0 for it, so that it will know that the B is going to be what? 0. So for instance, right now, if you want blue, for instance, you can specify 0 blue. Sorry. So if you want 0, for instance, say blue, for instance, 0, 255, green 0. So right now we are telling the browser that the color should be 0, R should be 0. That means you don't want any red, you want green, the 4, and then the blue to be 0. So if we save it and we refresh it, see, we have blue color, sorry, the green color. So we are doing away with the red, we are doing away with the blue, but we want the green. Same applies. Can what? Mix both of them, say 255. You save, you refresh, and the color will appear. So you can be playing around, you can search for the color name. So red, for instance, has the RGB, say 255,00 for it. So that's it. You can research and what to know more about these hexadecimal values. So it's really cool to know them, but I don't have to chew everything here. So the internet is there, so you can research and what? Put them in your code. And we have RGBA. Sorry, we have RGBA. So the RGBA, simply, the A stands for alpha. The A stands for alpha. That's that's the opacity of it. So the A ranges from 0 to 1. It's 0 to 1. That's the range, 0 to 1. So for instance, let's say, let me use red, the red color, and give it RGB of 0. You save it, you refresh, you are going to see nothing, because you are specifying that the opacity should be 0, the visibility should be 0. That means you are not going to see anything. So if you make it let's say 0.5, you save it, and then what, you refresh, you are going to see it what in between 0 and 1, in between what 0 and 1. So if I make it 1 right now, you are going to see the 4 red. You save it, you refresh, see right now it's blue. So the RGB stands for red, green, blue, alpha. So it's what the A controls the visibility, the opacity of it. That's what the A does. Yes, the A controls the opacity of it. So right now, let's talk about CSS background. Right now we know CSS color. CSS color, that's a brief about CSS color. So if you want to know more, if you want to what find more of it, you can research about what the colors are there. So you have the predefined, you can use a predefined name, you can use a hexadecimal. Yes, all of them, everything works. And let me ship it, let me what put this one inside about what the hexadecimal. So colors can be defined using the hexadecimal. That's what, let me for instance show that. Let's say if you want, that's FF. So FF, this FF means white. Yes, or if you give it 4F is white. So if you want black is 000. You can research more and know. Save it, you are not going to see anything because it's going to mix with the background. Yes, if you want black, give it 0, you save it, and then you refresh, and you get your black color. So that's the hexadecimal. These numbers is what the hexadecimal. You can research more and know more about it. But I can visit W3 schools for that. Yes, W3 schools. You go and say their color is there. No, they get a lot of color. W3 school is a very good platform for you to what discover more colors there. Hello, let's take a look at CSS background. CSS background. So let's head on to our style sheet. So we are going to style the background of the body. Okay, the body. So we will select the body. That's the body using the element, body element. So this is a tag name, the body, the tag name. So the background, we have background color. Can specify the background color and background image of it. The background color and background image. So we are going to start with background color. We are going to start with background color. So type background. So immediately you type background, you will see you have a whole lot of properties you can use. Background image, background clip, background repeat, visible, sorry, this one background, background size, background color, background position, background attachment, background origin, background blend mode. So we have a lot that you can play around with. But with this tutorial, we are going to take a look at the most used properties. Yes, the most used properties. So first, let's take a look at background color, which is here. So the background color, we go now. Right now we've taken a look at colors. So we can specify the background color using predefined name or the hexadecimal value. Yes, or the RGBA. So let's say we want red background. You end it with your semicolon, you save it, you refresh your browser, and then you have your background color to be red. If you want black, you can change it to, let's use a number 00. This represents black. You save, you refresh, it becomes black. You see the black and the text are what the background has covered the text, because the text too is white. So with this you can just say color, meaning you are changing the text color. Let's make it white. You save, you refresh. You see, so always be mindful of the colors you use, the background color and the text color. Be very careful. Sometimes it can cause disturbance to the one going to use your website. So always be careful of the colors you are going to use. So right now we are good with background colors. Next on the list, let's look at background image. So background image, background image is here. So background image, you have to specify the location of the image. Means we are going to use URL. So with the use URL, we specify what is the image name. Right now the image I'm going to use is within that folder, that's bgimg. So I'll just type bgimg.jpg. Then I save, I refresh my browser, you see this huge image. Let me make the browser big. See the image has what covered the entire screen. See, it has covered the entire screen. So what we can do is that CSS gives us another property that we can what use to control the background. Another properties that we can use to control the background, like background position. So in background position, it can be what center, top, left, right, bottom left. So where you specify is where the image is going to be. So let's see center and see center. Save. Sorry. Refresh. The image comes to the center, right? So you can use left. Save. Right, I'm not seeing because the image is too huge. So how you specify is what how the image is going to be. So let's stick to center so that we can apply different properties and what. Oh, why am I doing this? Okay. So center. So the next property we can use is background size. We have background size. The background size. So background size, we have contain and cover. Contain is something like it's going to be within that container, the element is going to be within it, but the cover is going to be big and what. When increasing the screen, let's take a look at it and see how it's going to be like. So let's say contain, you save, refresh, you see how it is doing. See, so it's going to be like the normal size in it, but see by default this also leads us to what this property. Okay, let's take a look at the cover. So cover, you save, you refresh, you see how it is. One more thing is, see, images by default repeat itself. So we can control that using the CSS property background repeat. The background repeat. So the background repeat, you can say repeat in the X direction, repeat in the Y direction, or no repeat, or repeat. So with the background repeat, we can set it to no repeat. We save, you refresh. See, it does. It's not repeating. Right? Yes. So you can say repeat. See the repeat properties. You have repeat in the X direction. That is the horizontal. You can say repeat in the Y direction. You save, and it's going to be repeated in the Y direction. So what you want to do is, so it is, let's stick to no repeats. You save, you refresh. So size, you have cover, I said contain to, you know how it works, see how it is. So CSS background, yes, this almost the importance, yes, the most used, yes, let me say it, the most used CSS property. So you can deal with the background color. See this for instance. So you can add background color, say background color, so that in case the image doesn't appear, this is a very good practice. Background color, so let's use red. In case the image doesn't appear, it's going to show. You see it's showing. So some browsers sometimes fail to what render the image. They sometimes fail to what render the image. So in case the browser fails to what render this image, then the background is going to be what red. It's going to be what red. But if it doesn't fail to what show it, that means the image is what going to be showed. So right now we covered background color, we've covered background image, background position, background size, and what background repeat. We've covered background image, background repeat, background position, and background size. Yes, these are the most used CSS property, the most used one. We have other, as you saw, we have others, but these are the most used one. You don't have to chew all of them off it. You don't have to know all of them off it. As time goes on, you get to discover a lot and what use them. But I'm not going to use almost all of them. These are the most used one. Next on our list, we are going to talk about CSS Border. We are going to talk about CSS Border. We are going to talk about CSS border. Okay, see, save and refresh. So let's make a p tag and say hello world. You save, you refresh. So CSS border. The CSS border property allows you to specify the style, the width and color of an element's border. It allows you to specify the style, width and color of an element's border. So the style can be this border style. It can be dotted, dashed, solid, double, groove, rage, insert, offset, none, hidden. So we have this. We are going to try them out. And the border width too, you can specify them. Say, let's say you have 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 2 em, 4 em, 2%. All these things you are the width of it. And then the color, you can use any. You can use the one with length earlier, the predefined, the hexadecimal, or the RGB or RGBA. You can use any. So let's get started. So let's first select our elements. Let's select our elements. So we can say border. So immediately we type border, you see all these border, border right, border radius, border left, border image, border collapse, border width, border color, border style, border spacing, border bottom, border top. So with the border, you can choose to what style the left or the right, the top or the bottom of it. It's all is going to work. So first you specify the width, let's say 2 pixel, and then the style, let's use solid. We are going to try the rest out, and let's use red. Let's save and refresh. So this is what we have. This is the border. Yes, this is the border. 2 is the width of it, solid is the type, and the red is the color. So the border style, we have another one, dotted. We have dotted. Let's save it and refresh and see. So this is how the dotted is, the dotted. And we have another, the double. Save, refresh. You see the lines are double. Let me make the width bigger so that it becomes more visible. Okay, yes. So this is a double. Yes, and we have groove. We have groove. You see, so you can try them out. You are not going to use all of them. You are going to use, yes, the ones that are commonly used, as the solid, the double, dotted, solid, double, dotted. Yes, solid. So you can just style. So this one, using the border, for that means you are styling everything. You are styling both left, right, top and bottom. So right now you can choose to what, do only the left. Say border left. Say border left. So I can give my border left 4 pixels. Let's say dotted, or let me use double. Let's use double. Then I use green. I save, I refresh. You see my left. I can come and style the right. Border right, use 2 pixel. Let's use dotted, and let's use pink for instance. You save, refresh. Now you see on the right, you can do the border top. That one, let's give it 4 pixels. Groove. Then what color again? Let's use violet. Let's save, you refresh, and then you have it. Same border bottom. I want you to understand it. That's why I'm doing it step by step. So border bottom too, we can use solid. Yes, 2 pixels. Solid. Let's go back to our red. Let's see. Yes, so see you have different. Yes, different. So you can choose to say border left. So you can say border left, you can style the width, you can style it, just that's the width of it. You can style the style, you can use the green. So with this I can say 2 pixels, and by default it's going to be black. Then I can come and say border bottom color. See, border bottom, you can style only the color, only the style, only the width, color, style, width. So right now I need a color, so I can say color to be red. Sometimes you can style everything, but I want just one place to have different color. So this almost a lot about the border. Then okay, we also saw border radius. So border radius is like the curvy part, how it's going to be. So let's say I give it 15 pixels for instance, then I save, I refresh. You see how it has what curved the edges. That's it. So you can give it any that you prefer. It's still going to work. Yes, you can give it, you can make it in terms of percentage. Let's say 50%. You save it. No, CRS. So it all depends on you. It all depends on you, the style that you prefer. So we've talked about border. That's a shortcut, using the shortcut to style all of it, to determine the border of all of it. Then what we've talked about, the border left, border right, border top, border bottom, and how to style individual, like the width, the style, and the color. The width, the style, and the color. We've also looked at border radius. Yes, border radius. We've also taken a look at border radius, how it is. So this is all for this chapter.